Hey guys, it's Adrian, and today I'm taking a look at Eufy's Video Smart Lock E330. Now this features a 2K camera with built-in storage. We also have fingerprint unlock along with a bunch of other ways to unlock this, and of course there's 0 monthly fees. Now you may be wondering what's the difference between the Video Smart Lock S330, which I have here, and I've reviewed it, I'll link that up above, and the Video Smart Lock E330. Well, there's a little bit of differences, they're not very major, but let's take a closer look at the E330 to see, which is the best lock for you, and a big thanks to Eufy for sending us out for review. In the box we have the lock. We also have the rear portion of the lock along with a back plate for it. There's also a 10,000 milliamp hour battery, strike plate, screws, deadbolt, mounting screws, keys, security sticker, and quick start guide. The lock has a modern and sleek design, so we have pretty much a matte type of color scheme going on here. So we have the top mounted fingerprint reader, that 2K lens at f1.6. We also have the keypad here, the Eufy logo, and then we also have the ringer, and you can actually pry this out, and that gives access to the keyhole to use the keys if you still want to use that. Now, looking at the very bottom, we have a USB Type-C port here, and this is meant just for, emergencies. If the battery ever runs out, you can just attach a power bank here and then get access to the lock again if you weren't carrying your keys. There's also a speaker grill there. The rear of the lock has a soft rubbery type of material here, and that's going to keep the lock nice and flush against your door. We also have the locking mechanism along with cables, which we're going to connect to the rear portion of the lock to keep everything powered on. And then you can also rotate this plastic connector piece right out of there if you don't need it for your door when you install. I usually don't need this piece, so I always remove it. The rear portion of the lock, which is going to be inside rear house, has this nice knob, and you can hear it has nice tactile clicks, so you can manually lock and unlock. And of course you can just slide up this cover to remove the battery, recharge it, and then connect it back, which is very convenient because this is the portion that stays in your house. Installation is very straightforward, and Eufy has an excellent video on how to install this, so I'll leave that link below. Specs include 2K video resolution with a 4:3 aspect ratio. We have two-way audio, PIR, and radar sensors. We have human detection at 10,000 milliamp hour rechargeable battery, operating temperature from -10 Celsius to 50 Celsius, and IP65 rating. We have 8 gigabytes of local storage. Let's take a look at the settings in the Eufy app. So I can go ahead and launch right into live view. I can also see if the door is locked or unlocked, which is handy to know. And if I actually long press on this, you can see there's kind of a countdown, so I can remotely lock or unlock the door if I like. Now what I can also do is I can tap into the icon here, and I can go ahead and snooze notifications for 30 minutes up to 12 hours. But let's go into live view for right now. Give that a second to load up, and you can see that loads fairly quickly. Here's my smart drop box. Now the quality on here is really good. You could see very detailed, and I can actually even zoom in and make out that sign, which I don't want to. But you can see that right now it's fairly bright outside, and we do have light coming directly at the camera, but it's handling it very well. And I can also see the door lock status right in the middle of the screen here. And of course you can also rotate it to give you, a full widescreen display. But let's get out of that. I can also manually start a recording, take a screenshot. You can hear that microphone pickup, it's also good as well. I can also go ahead and start two-way talk with anyone outside, and then I can issue quick responses right from here, and you can add your own as well. I've added this delivery box one right there. And of course you could just cut the sound. Looking at the full settings, I could turn the lock on or off. I can also pair it with the home base, which I'll do afterwards. But let's go into motion detection. And I have it set between, human only or all motion. I've set it to all motion, but you could filter it to human only. And then you could set the detection distance either with standard, where you can go from 3 feet to 17, or you can actually go into advanced and have a bit more fine control. The option to integrate the doorbell with a camera is pretty neat. So you can see I've integrated it with these two compatible cameras here. So when I'm looking at live view on any of these cameras, I can actually unlock or lock the door right from the camera live view. And then into manage access is where you can add different people, and you could see I have a passcode added and a fingerprint, so this makes it handy. You can add as many people as you like. Under quick response, this is a custom one that I've recorded, but you can add more if you like. Under power manager, you can see I have 88% battery life remaining, and that's based on 251 detections and 236 recordings since this was installed, which is quite a bit of recordings. Now you could set it to optimal battery life, where it's only going to record when someone presses the ringer. You could set it to balanced surveillance, which is what I have it. So video clip lengths are going to be up to 20 seconds, and it's not going to, alert you 2 times if it's the same object detected. Or you could set it to optimal surveillance, where you'll have up to 60 seconds of clip length, or you can completely customize it, set it up to 2 minutes per clip, a 5-second cooldown or re-trigger time, and you could just disable the option to end the clip early if motion stops, if you just want as much surveillance as possible. Auto lock is a handy feature, so if you turn that on, the lock will actually automatically lock itself between 5 seconds to 3 minutes of you not locking it. And you can also set a schedule for that to be active, or you could just disable it completely. Under one touch unlocking, this is where you could long press the check mark on the lock to lock the door. It won't open it, but it will lock it. But I prefer just using my fingerprint instead of using this option or using the pin pad. You can also enable wrong try protection. So if someone is unsuccessful 5 times, you can set a 5-minute lockout time just to prevent people from, tampering with the lock. You can also turn on scramble passcode, so you can enter up to 12 digits, fake digits preceding, fake digits at the end, and with your real passcode in the middle there somewhere, and the system will intelligently pick that out. Under video settings, this is where we can have a watermark on or off. We can go into video quality, and you can see I've set streaming quality to high, but you can set it to auto depending on your bandwidth. Recording quality, it's set to the highest, which is 2K, or you can set it to 1080p. If we go into night vision, I've set it to automatically detect, when it should switch to night vision or not. And you also have this night vision optimization, which I don't need to use. You can go into audio settings. You can enable the microphone, enable audio recording, and set the speaker volume. And I found that it's quite loud even at 80%. And of course, since this doesn't have a chime, you may want to set the ringtone volume to 100% so you can hear it while you're inside your house. And you can also set the sound of the beeps when you interact with the lock in terms of it locking, unlocking, or using the pin pad. Under notifications, we could decide what type of notification we want to get. Do we only want to get it when there's motion detected, when the doorbell is rung, when it's locked or unlocked? And then once you tap on the notification, do you want to go right to live view, or do you want to go to the related history or recorded event? And you could see, it's going to show on here front door, tap to view event. And if I tap on that, it would take me to live view instead of the recorded event. Now, if you want alerts as quick as possible, choose most efficient. But if you want to get a thumbnail, or you want to get a thumbnail with more information, you could choose the include thumbnail or the full effect option. And of course, you could change the app alert tones as well. While this lock doesn't come with an indoor chime, you do have the option to use a mini bass chime. If you bought one of those, you have that option there, or you can use Alexa as a chime. Under lock calibration, you could recalibrate the lock if you need to, but I've never had to do that even with my previous Eufy lock. And then under general, this is where we have the option to turn the status LED on or off. We can test the internet connection, and we can also take a look at the storage. So this does have 8 gigabytes of local storage, and I've only utilized 576 of that based on about 245 recordings or so. So very decent. And if you do want to upgrade that, you would connect it to the home base, which I'll show later. And of course, you could share the device with your family and friends. So I've just connected the E330 to the home base, and what I'm going to do now is go into the settings to show what's changed. So to confirm, it's now connected to the home base, and you could see if I go into general and then into storage, local storage, we could see instead of showing 8 gigabytes of local storage, it's now showing the 1 terabyte that's installed. Additionally, when I go into the home base 3 settings, I could tap on AI empowerment, and I can see that the front door camera, which is the E330 right here, it's now empowered. So it says that it's going to use AI detection to review recorded video. It's quite easy. We'll go into events, and I've already pre-selected the front door, and you could see there's a bunch of notifications on here. So I could see that the door was unlocked by me at this time, and then it was manually locked as well. And then there's this one about humans, so I'll just tap on that, which is going to be me leaving. And from here, I could just go ahead and download this clip, zoom in, so it's very easy to utilize the system. All right, so let's talk about the locking and unlocking experience, which is pretty much the point of any type of smart lock. So this is lightning quick, and coming from the S330, which is, a full featured lock and, about $70 more than this, I thought the experience on here was going to be, kind of reduced, a little bit worse. But actually, I found that the unlocking speed seems maybe even a slightly bit faster than on the S330. I'm not sure if that's just my mind playing tricks with me or if it's a different sensor, but it is very, very fast. I literally just need to put my finger on there for, half of a second, and it registers it and opens the door. And I've been so used and spoiled by the speed and accuracy of the finger unlock that that's my primary way to lock and unlock the door. I just use my fingerprint, pretty much nothing else. And it's so liberating to just leave your house with nothing really, not your keys, not a wallet. I could just take my headphones and my phone and just leave, go for a walk, come back and just use my finger to lock and unlock. However, if you don't want to always use your fingerprints, or say you wear gloves and that's going to impede with that, then you also have traditional ways to unlock it. With the pin unlock, there is a passcode scramble feature. So if you're standing with other people and you're opening your door, you don't want them to see your pin, what you can do is enter some fake digits at the start, then your real pin and some fake digits at the end. And as long as your real passcode is in there somewhere, the system will intelligently pick that out from the sequence and open the door. There is also an option in the app where you could just, long press the check mark or OK button, and that will activate the lock to lock it. It can't open it, but it will lock it every time you want to leave. But it does take a little bit longer than just using your fingerprint. To use a traditional key, what you'll have to do is kind of like pry down the push button ringer. And once you do that, then you'll get access to the key slot to use your traditional key. And when using the Eufy app, you can actually see in real time if the lock is actually locked or unlocked, which is very handy because, sometimes you may leave the house in a rush and you're not quite sure, did you lock it or unlock it? Well, you could pull up the Eufy app and easily see the lock status if it's locked or unlocked. And there is also an additional feature in the app where you can program the door to, automatically lock after a certain preset time. So you're always coming in, going, loading groceries, you may forget, the lock can automatically lock itself, providing everything is nice and flush with the door frame and the deadbolt. This is also a great option, if you have someone just visiting your house, say temporarily to drop something off, like a delivery person or someone who's, just checking your mail and bringing it in. You don't actually have to give them a physical key. They could just text you, call you, and you can remotely unlock the door for them. They can just go in, place everything. Of course, you can monitor them with the Eufy, indoor camera, and then when they leave, just remotely lock it again. The app also shows you kind of a lock and unlock history, so you can see who's exactly coming and going and at what time. There's also a fairly new feature that Eufy added, which is that anytime you have a compatible Eufy camera, if you're looking at the live view and you see a delivery person or a guest, kind of leaving their car and coming up to your house, you don't actually have to jump into the door lock settings to unlock it. Right from a supported camera, you could just hit the door lock icon and you can open it from live view on a supported Eufy camera, which is pretty cool. So the video quality on here was great during the day and at night. So during the day, everything was, brightly exposed. And because I have a covered entryway, not as much light, direct light makes its way in there. So it's a lot of ambient light or reflected light, but it was still very easy to make out faces of, me coming and going, delivery people. And the same at night, in this one clip, I almost had free, Uber Eats guys. The guy dropped a bag and then he realized, hey, that was the wrong house. He came back and got it, and you can see it captured that all very clearly. The field of view on here was also wide enough because anytime someone rang it and if they took a couple of steps back, I could easily make out, most of their body from the top of their head to just below their knees, which is, a lot of viewing area. The camera was also fairly decent at detecting motion, and then once it detected motion, just popping up an app notification or alert, and then once you tap into that, it quickly loaded up live view. So here's a demo of the speakers. Now there's some pre-recorded, kind of quick replies that you could send to people if you're busy, and of course you can also record your own.
Excuse me, can I help you? Please leave my package in the delivery box and close the lid.
The door lock comes with 8 GB of built-in storage, and you can't expand it through the doorbell, but if you buy the optional Homebase 3, then you could use the storage that comes on the Homebase 3. Now, in about a week of me, fully testing this, coming and going a lot, delivery people, and I have a lot of foot traffic, kids coming back and forth from school, cars, and so on, I only used about 440 megabytes, and this was set to the maximum video recording and then recording with sound. And I'm estimating this is going to give me probably 3 to 5 months of video playback history, which is pretty good for me. The battery life on here is pretty good as well. So it's a Canadian winter, it's much colder, and the cold weather does deplete battery life quicker. Now I'm at around 89%, and this is based on around, say, 250 detected events based on the motion sensitivity settings that I have, and about 230 recorded events. And that's actually pretty good because I did, a lot of playing around and testing with this initially when I set it up. So now the battery life is going to be kind of more constant and more stable. Now, whenever it is time to top up the battery life, it's very easy since the battery is located, inside your home. All you do is slide up the top cover, remove the battery, connect it to any USB Type-C cable, same as you would charge your phone, charge it fully back up and then pop it back in and you're good to go. And of course you can always buy like an optional battery or a separate battery just so that you already have one already charged up so you have no downtime. By the way, if the battery ever dies completely, you do have a USB Type-C port located at the bottom of the lock that you could use to connect a power bank. So should you get the S330 or E330 video smart lock? Now I've used this for about a year. I'm very familiar with it, and this actually comes with a chime unit. And what that means is that anytime someone rings the doorbell, wherever you've plugged the chime in, you'll hear it, very loudly in that room. And the chime unit also has a micro SD card slot so that you can add additional storage. There is no Homebase 3 that you have to have. So that's one of the key differences. Now with the E330, there is no chime unit. So when someone rings the doorbell, you're kind of just hearing the speaker. And you're also getting an app notification or alert on your phone. And for me, that's been good enough. I always have my phone on me. It's not a make or break type of thing for me. But this does have something called loitering detection. So if someone's just kind of standing outside, loitering around your door, lingering, it will play a message to them or, a pre-recorded message asking them, hey, kind of what are you doing here? Can I help you? That's not present on this system, the E330. Again, not something I really found myself missing. Yeah, it's a nice to have, but really not necessary. The other thing is the S330 has something called leaving detection. So when someone's actually leaving, it's gonna notify you of that as well. So based on all of those differences, is it worth paying an extra roughly $70 US for those features? Well, that's gonna be up to you to decide. Now, I've been using the E330. I really don't feel like it's a step down in terms of a video smart lock. I didn't really miss any of the features that I mentioned previously, and it's just been working flawlessly and maybe even a little bit faster in terms of the fingerprint unlock. Now, the other reason why this may be beneficial to you is if you do any type of rental property, you could just put this lock on, and instead of changing or exchanging a physical key, just register the person or your tenant with, their fingerprint if they're opposed to that, then just with the pin pad. And then when it's the end of the lease, just go ahead and delete them from the system. And you don't actually have to worry that, hey, they didn't return my key on time, or maybe they made copies and you have to switch out the lock completely. So that makes it a wonderful option for, maybe rentals or short-term rentals like, Airbnbs and things like that. So if you're interested in picking up the Eufy Video Smart Lock E330, I'm going to leave some links down below for you to check it out. And let me know, between both of these locks, the S330 or E330, which are you more interested in? And I will leave a link to my full review of the S330 if you want to check it out. But, after using both of these locks, I can easily say, you're really not going to be missing much if you decide to go with the E330. Say the indoor chime is not that big of a deal for you, which I found I really have not missed that much. And as always, if you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. I have a ton more content like this coming, and I'll see you in the next one soon.